Hello, unfortunate witches of the moon. I am back, and for the 5 minutes that it was up, I'm sorry if you see me again and are like, what is actually happening? So, this is week 8, Witches of the Moon, week 8, season 13. So, I did the wrong video, and things like this happen, and it's okay. So, we're just going to keep it rolling. Today, we are talking about brews. Brews. Sorry, I had to wrap my mind up in that a little bit. So, okay. So, just to bring it back down to a mundane level, a brew is something that you make, right? You're throwing ingredients together. Typically, it is to drink, or even, it could be something thicker like a soup or a stew. It's got to have, in my mind, a brew is a liquid base. So, that's how I line it all up, and it is something you would make in your kitchen. I'm sorry, I cannot get over I did the wrong one. Okay. So brews can be used for a lot of things. You can make, you can use a brew and those little linen, I don't know, like if you would make a sachet out of it or some type of little holder, little pouch, you can steep your pouch in your brew to get the properties of whatever you're steaming or whatever you're boiling, and have that right infused into the sack that you'll be filling up for whatever purposes. That's one way you can use it. It's not necessarily, in my mind, something that has to be ingested, and unless you are uh, getting recipes from a reputable source, I wouldn't go all willy-nilly with trying to create homemade brews, because you just don't know what's in store unless you're getting it from a reputable source. And your herbs or your flowers, or whatever your oils, because some people put oils in them. I typically do not put oils into my brews. I just um, I don't like the way they taste. you know I just don't. So that's just me personally. I would prefer to have fresh herbs. Even some flowers are great. Um, but again, you have to make sure they're coming to a reputable source, and that they are uh, for ingestion, because sometimes they're not. If you go to a store and you buy a bunch of roses, that doesn't necessarily mean that you should be making rose tea out of it. Or rose and hibiscus tea is wonderful and delicious, but unless you're getting them from somewhere that they are deemed appropriate for ingestion, I wouldn't go for it. I would try and order tea online. I have a really great tea shop by me, and the owner is very tuned into the metaphysical properties as well as the mundane properties of, her stock. So when I buy from her, I know that it's coming from somewhere good. Someone who's knowledgeable about what they're selling, who this is what they do. And for making a brew, I think that especially newer people who are new to the craft get really excited about the gathering of ingredients, and because it all sounds a little fanciful when you first start, and that kind of adds to the mystery of it. And it's nice to um, immerse yourself into the world of magic and feel like it is truly, you know, just something so spiritual. And that, I think that's part of, you know, um, the buying, the gathering, and all of that. But do not rule out what you can buy in the grocery store. There is a ton of tea companies who make beautiful blends, and 9 times out of 10, they have everything you need already packaged, and it's safe for ingestion. It is all measured. You can buy straight up chamomile tea, you know, which you don't have to be a witch to know about. A lot of people drink chamomile tea, but there are so many interesting ones, especially if you go into a holistic store or an organic. Uh, I'm trying to think of how they describe. My brain is foggy. Um, Especially in organic shops, they'll have rows and rows of herbs, and nine times out of 10, they can tell you how to make a blend, or they even have small little recipe cards right there so that if you see a tea you like, you can scoop it, bag it, grind it, and you're good to go. So brews can be, let me go into what else brews can be used for aside from just soaking linen bags and drinking. You can also make a brew and then use it as an anointing water. When you're boiling the water and you're getting out all of the properties of the herb, flower, root, bark, uh, you can then you can make cold teas, you can make an anointing water, you can add it to a bath. There's so many things you could do. For me, a brew is simply something that is boiled, that you're pulling the properties out and putting them into the water. So they could really be used for so much. And for me, just chalking it up to a tea that you can use for prophetic visions or um, psychic ability or spirit contact. The list goes on and on. There's a tea for everything. There is a tea for love. There's a tea for success. Teas, 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 teas. But you know what? Sometimes at the end of the day, you need to throw that tea into the bath, and that's okay. And it's still a brew. You still took the time and the energy to extract those properties from that plant and use them on your personal, on your physical body, and not that came out weird. You're not going to drink it. You're going to soak in it. So it's going to get soaked up through your skin, right? That's why we do baths, because um, they're cleansing, and you can add so much to them. So when you're thinking about making a brew for whatever purposes, think about the other ways you can use it as well. As it's not something that can just be internally taken. It is something you can wash yourself with. It is something you can anoint yourself with. It is something you can make a sachet and carry on you to enhance the properties, and so that it gives you a well-rounded coating in whatever you are trying to accomplish. My dog's on my kitchen counter. He thinks he's a cat. They both do. Two of them are up there. Okay. All right, you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me round two. And I will see you next week looking exactly how I look now. Okay. All right, guys. Blessed be. If you have any questions, as always, leave them in the comment section. I'll be happy to check in and see where you all are at. I hope everybody is doing well and are finding nothing but blessings and good things during this drug on coronavirus. All right, guys. See you next week. Bye.